Greetings, welcome to this new video about Kirchhoff's laws, KCL and KVL. Solve the problem number 10. Given the electric circuit with R1 is 30 ohms, R2 2 ohms, R3 10 ohms, R4 20 ohms, R5 5 ohms, and we have a current source IS 4 amps and voltage source VS 60 volt. The question now is to calculate the current in each resistor by using or applying Kirchhoff's laws. Let's go to solution. We start with the step number 1 is to choose the direction of the currents. I1 is the current to through resistor I1, I2 is the current to through the resistor R2, I3 is the current through the resistor R3, I4 is the current through the resistor R4, I5 is the current through the resistor R5. After we finish step number 1, we go to step number 2 is to identify the polarity of each resistor. We know that the current go always from the high potential to the low potential. That means this is positive and negative of R1, this is positive and negative of R2, this is positive and negative of R3, this is positive and negative of R4, and finally this is positive and negative of R5. We go now to step number 3 is to apply Kirchhoff's current law KCL. We can see here at node A that I1 entering the node, IS entering the node, and I2 leaving the node. Then we can write KCL at A, I1 plus IS is equal to I2. We go now to node B. We have I2 entering the node, I4 and I5 leaving the node. Then we can write KCL at B, I2 is equal to I4 plus I5. We go now to node C. We see that I3 is entering the node and I4 entering the node, and this current is negative I5 leaving the node. Then we can write KCL at C, I3 plus I4 is equal to negative I5. After we finish step number 3, we go to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law KVL. Before we start, we need to choose the different loops we are going to use here. This is loop number 1 and this is loop number 2. Then in loop number 1 we can write negative R4 I4 plus R5 I5 plus Vs is equal to 0. That means negative 20 I4 plus 5 I2 plus 60 is equal to 0. We go now to loop 2. We can write here R1 I1 plus R2 I2 plus R4 I4 minus R3 I3 is equal to 0. We obtain finally 30 I1 plus 2i2 minus 10i3 plus 20i4. After we finish applying Kirchhoff's laws KCL and KVL, we obtain 5 equations with 5 unknowns. We still only need to solve those equations in order to find I1, I2, I3, I4 and I5. Let's start with equation number 4. We have negative 20 I4 plus 5 I5 plus 60 is equal to 0. That means we can write I5 in terms of I4. I5 is negative 12 plus 4 I4, and I will call this equation A. By substituting A in 3, we obtain I3 plus I4 is equal to 12 minus 4i4. That means we can write I3 in terms of I4. I3 is equal to 12 minus 5i4, and I will call this equation B. Now by substituting A in 2, we obtain I2 is equal to I4 minus 12 plus 4i4. Then we can write I2 in terms of I4. I2 is equal to negative 12 plus 5i4, and we will call this equation C. Now by replacing C in 1, we obtain I1 plus 4 is equal to negative 12 plus 5 I4. Finally, we obtain I1 in terms of I4. I1 is equal to negative 16 plus 5 I4, and we will call this equation D. Now, by substituting B, C, and D in 5, we obtain an equation only in terms of I4. By continuing developing and simplifying this equation, we obtain negative 480 plus 150 I4 minus 24 plus 10 I4 minus 120 plus 50 I4 plus 20 I4 is equal to 0. Finally, we obtain negative 624 plus 230 I4 is equal to 0. That means I4 is 624 over 230 is equal to 271 amps. We go back to A. We have I5 is equal to negative 12 plus 4 I4. That means I5 is negative 115 amps. B. We have I3 is equal to 12 minus 5 I4. That means I3 is equal to negative 155 amps. C gives I2 is equal to negative 12 plus 5 I4. That means I2 is 155 amps. And finally, I1 is equal to negative 16 plus 5 I4. That means I1 is equal to negative 245 amps. After we finish calculation, we have done simulation using SPICE simulator in order to verify our calculation. Let's go together to SPICE simulator. Here is the circuits done with SPICE simulator. We can see here this is resistor R1, this is the current source IS, resistor R2, R3, R4, R5, and this is voltage source VS 60 volt. We go to analyze this analysis, and after table of this results, and we see here current. This is the current in the resistor R1, that's 243 amps. And the current by the through the resistor R2, that's negative 157 amps. This is the current R4 is 271. Current I3 is 157, and this is the current I5 is 115 amps. Those value is exactly the same value we have done by calculation. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any question, do not hesitate to contact me by email or leave a comment under this video, and I will try to answer you as soon as possible. See you next time in another video. Have a nice time. Bye bye.